Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have an interesting episode for you guys you definitely want to stick around for, so make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, as all of you guys are fully aware, Kevin Durant has been a major talking point in the media since the NBA Finals ended, right? Since the NBA Finals, it's been all about KD ever since he made his request to be traded from the Brooklyn Nets. He has been the number one basketball topic out there, right? They've talked about him to what seems like ad nauseum, right? Now, we haven't covered him as much because there just hasn't really been much to say since he put out his trade request. A lot of it is just inferring that a lot of us have been doing since then. Like, is he going to do this? Is he doing this? What does this mean? What does that mean, right? Just yesterday, one of his, I believe his former teammates came out there, was on a podcast, and he said that at one point KD said basically that this series is over, and they were talking about that, right? I don't really think that's groundbreaking information, but nevertheless, they were talking about it. And we've heard from everyone, but the one person we haven't really heard from on this situation has been Shaquille O'Neal, right? And Shaquille O'Neal yesterday was on the Rick Eisen show, right? He was being interviewed, and he was actually initially talking about the passing of Bill Russell as also a big man. So he was talking about the impact that Bill Russell had on the game of basketball. But towards the midway point of the interview, inevitably, Rich Eisen, also asked him about what he thought about Kevin Durant, demanding to be traded from the Brooklyn Nets, given the fact that he's starting a brand new contract with the team. And in typical Shaq fashion, he didn't hold back whatsoever when he was giving his opinion on Kevin Durant. But before we get into the comments that Shaq made, this video is brought to you by our sponsor, Aura, who's also the official sponsor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do you know what the fastest growing crime in America is today? It's identity theft. Imagine trying to log into your email only to see that your password has been changed. Then you start getting weird notifications from your bank and credit cards, only to find out that all of your personal and sensitive information has been totally compromised. If you think it can happen to you and your family, just know that in 2020, over 49 million Americans were victims to identity theft, costing them a combined $56 billion. That is why we are excited to partner with Aura, who's the sponsor of this video. Aura is the #1 identity theft and financial fraud protection. Aura monitors the dark web and alerts you if any of your passwords and accounts have been breached. And funny enough, after using Aura, I discovered some of my credentials were floating around in the dark web, and the app showed me exactly when and where the breach happened. In addition, Aura allows you to set spending alerts, and they'll notify you of any suspicious transactions. Aura is 4 times faster than any of its competitors in alerting you if someone is trying to open a credit card or obtain a loan using your name. And remember this, every 14 seconds, someone becomes a victim of identity fraud. Don't let it happen to you. Now click the link in the description and try Aura for free for 2 weeks and see if any of you or your family's personal information has been compromised. Start your free trial at aura.com/dreamerspro. And when you try Aura, by using the link in the description below, also know that you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do is we want to play what Shaq had to say about Kevin Durant, and then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to what Shaq had to say here about KD. Take a listen to
that. Before I let you go on your day, a couple of questions for you on the current NBA. If you were the Celtics, would you trade for Durant? Would you cough up Jaylen Brown and others for Durant right now, Shaquille?
No, not at all. We have a young nucleus that we can build and we can trust. I'd keep them. And I don't know what everybody else was watching, but Jaylen was hanging pretty tough with Durant. Looked like that to me. So, no. The answer is no.
That answer is no, then. What do you...
Excuse me. The answer is hell no.
I think that is a bigger level than just no. Yeah. Well, I mean, because Durant is still Durant, right? I mean, that's why...
And Jaylen had his way with Durant during the playoffs. Did y'all not see that?
I did see what the Celtics did to the Nets, but the Nets obviously were a bit of a mess. So you didn't.
So hey, I'm good.
What do you think is up there with Durant in Brooklyn, where he asked out 2 days after Kyrie said he's opting in? What do you think, Shaquille, is happening?
I wish I could jump into the mind of these young. Well, you're not young. I wish I could jump into the mind, but. My favorite saying, to each his own. He's going to have to do what he's going to have to do to make his career successful. He's pretty successful now, 2 championship rings, and he's looking for another one. But he probably got tired of all the extracurricular media activities that Kyrie was bringing, and don't want to have to deal with that anymore. If I'd have to speculate, but I don't know.
Right. And so where do you think Durant would be best served? Do you think it would be for him to stay put, or which team do you think should go ahead and offer the package for him?
I mean, when you put a house together, you should live in it. You know, you was the one who hired the architect. You was the one who got the other architect from Philadelphia. So you, as a leader, should make it work. But you don't want to make it work, I guess you go buy another house. So I know he's going to probably try to get to a contender. It's easier that way.
So you heard what Shaq had to say. Here are my thoughts on what Shaq had to say, and I do have a few. I think Shaq said what a good amount of people already felt about KD because of his past. He did join a team that he had down 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals that he ultimately lost to, that went on to the NBA Finals, that lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers. He did join that team, right? And at the time when he made that decision, a lot of people really frowned on KD for making that decision because they were like, you just turned this team into basically a juggernaut, right? The Golden State Warriors in the eyes of many people basically became unbeatable. And a lot of people held that against him, right? A lot of people held that against him. And based on the teams that have surfaced since KD's made his request, they said teams that he was preferential towards, teams like the Miami Heat, I believe at the time the Phoenix Suns, before they were able to re-sign Andre Ayton. A lot of people were looking at him like, wait a minute, KD, man, it looks like you're trying to take the easy route. If you listen to what Shaq said, it's like KD was, basically opting out for the easiest path to the finals. And now, if you look at the team that's the most recent team that seems to be in the trade talks with Kevin Durant, or the sweepstakes, the Kevin Durant sweepstakes, is the Boston Celtics. The team that just came from the NBA Finals that lost. So essentially, if KD were to get traded to the Boston Celtics, it'll be like the Golden State Warriors of the East, right? It'll be you're joining a team. But in this case, you didn't have them down. They swept you. But you're joining that team that just went to the NBA Finals and lost, and now you're joining that team, right? And that's the point that I believe that Shaq was pointing to when he said, oh, he's looking for the easy way out. However, we also have to be fair about this. Shaq, who I like, at one point in time could have been accused for doing something similar. Not the exact same thing, but something similar, because Shaq was aging at that point in his career. But Shaquille O'Neal did try to join some teams and turn them into super teams to win NBA Finals. You're looking, he joined the Phoenix Suns. We remember that with Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire and those guys who they thought had a really good chance of going out there and winning the championship. Obviously, that didn't happen, but they were one of the top teams in the Western Conference at the time. He did join the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James. And the last stop, ironically, he made was to the Boston Celtics. So I'm sure some of the people that are Kevin Durant supporters, when they hear Shaq saying this, I'm sure a lot of them are going to be pushing back on Shaq saying that, oh, KD is trying to take the easy way out, because they could say, well, wait a minute, Shaq, you also tried to do the same thing. So here's my ultimate takeaway from all of this. In my opinion, I think KD wants to leave because he realizes that the vision is lost, right? I think originally he was supposed to be playing with Kyrie Irving, and then ultimately they got James Harden, and it was supposed to be scary hours. And now when you look at the situation now with James Harden gone, Ben Simmons, status unclear, I think KD basically starting to realize that this team isn't good enough to win a championship. And I think ultimately that's what he tried to do, right? And I also think that he probably got tired for playing with. I think he also got tired. Playing for an organization that seemed rudderless, that seemed like they didn't have any leader, right? The Nets are one of the joke organizations out there when we're talking about management and leadership. Like, no one really knows who's at the helm of that organization. And I personally believe that if Kevin Durant does decide to leave, I believe a lot of people will pounce on him, especially if he goes and joins a team that's pretty much a contender, knocking at the doorstep of an NBA championship. And I think ultimately his best decision may be just to stay put, right? If not, maybe he won't win a championship staying put, but I think you'll probably get a lot of peace of mind because I think a lot of people are going to go at KD. And unfortunately, Kevin Durant seems to be one of these guys that really pays attention to the outside noise. So these are my thoughts and opinions on this matter. And what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about what Shaq had to say? What do you think about some of the things that I had to say? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.